Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today. This is the In Deep on the Delta fishing report for the San Joaquin Delta River, and this is the report for October 28th. We all know we've had the rainstorm of the century here about a week ago, so I'm going to get right into what's going on here on the river, and then I'll give you the fishing reports. The river has recovered almost 100% from what I can see it. We had 5 inches of rain come out of the Sacramento area, 3 to 4 inches of rain down south. So we had a big flush come through. And I was out, I didn't go out the day of the rainstorm, but I was out the day after. And there is some chocolate water in some of the sloughs, but for the most part, it is perfectly fishable and the fish are on the bite. So this is what I'm seeing. Get to Paradise Point, you've got about a foot of visibility and the water is chocolate. Get out about halfway down Disappointment Slough, it starts to clear up. By the time you get out to the channel, it's just fine. Same 3 to 6 feet of visibility that we had before the storm. So bottom line is, if you're going to fish way up in some of the sloughs that may be dumping into the river, you may get some colored water there, but for most of the spots up and down the channel and in a ways, you're going to have perfectly fishable water, and that goes for both the San Joaquin side and the Sacramento. We'll get into the Sacramento in just a little bit, but so you're going to have good conditions out here. We've got about 10 days of good weather with no rain, so anything that's in here now, after a couple more tides, I see it nothing. I see the situation doing nothing but clearing up or getting better, and that flush is really good for the system. It seems to have got all the nutrients riled up, which means the bait fish are riled up and the big fish are feeding on the bait fish. So water conditions are good. I'm finding 59 to 60, 61 degrees water temperatures. It's Wednesday afternoon, about noontime, and I'm getting 61 degrees where I'm at right now. So it may be a little cooler out north, but all in all, conditions are good. So you guys that want to get out on the weekend, it's ready to go. So let's get into stripers, and it's good all over. So I don't care who I'm talking to, outdoor sportsmen in Stockton, hook, line, and sinker, or Haps bait, they're all saying they're catching fish. So anywhere from the port of Stockton out to the Sacramento River, you're going to catch fish. So, wherever your favorite launch is, I'd say get out and go. They're catching them trolling, they're catching them drifting live bait. They're also catching a lot of good-sized fish plugging, either topwater plugs, things like S-wavers, glide baits, and maybe even some big swim baits. So doing really well, and I think all of the fish that we've been talking about, the stripers that were down in Suisun Bay and Grizzly Island down by Pittsburgh, they have flushed into the San Joaquin Sacramento Delta system. So now is a great time to be out here. The word from Jeff Suhu, who's been out here and just slamming them, he says you got to move, you got to find the green clear water. If you do find some dark water out there, which you're going to find patches of possibly on an outgoing tide flushing through the system, move out of that area until you find the fish. Don't stay in one spot, and that goes for both stripers and largemouth. Don't stay in one spot for more than about 15 or 20 minutes unless you're catching fish or you got something going there. There's bait or you can see fish. Just don't stay in one spot. Move around till you find the fish. Haps Bait also reported that be careful. There's some debris getting pushed down the Sacramento River, including logs and things that you don't want to hit with your boat. So slow down a little bit, be safe, but everything is a go for stripers, and I can't say enough about how happy I am how this striper season has gone so far. It just seems like there's a lot of fish in the system, and they're really nice fat fish. So with that, let's get right into the largemouth bass, and they're also doing very well. And again, we have about 10 days of good weather that they're predicting. So I believe anybody that wants to come out here and go out fishing for largemouth bass, you're going to have a lot of fun. Now, what have I been hearing from the shops and from the people who have been calling in for me? A lot of fish. It's not like it was a couple weeks ago where guys are catching 40, 50, 60 fish, and most of them are dinks. Still a lot of small fish, but the bigger fish are showing up more and more. Actually heard some reports from a few guys that were punching last week, and they did excellent. Actually unbelievable. There was some 7 and 8 pound fish come in from the guys that were punching. Here's a skinny on that. They're not catching a lot of fish. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to have your spots. If you're not in tune with that, I would say, you might go to a different technique. I've been throwing mostly chatterbaits and jerkbaits with worms really starting to play, especially in the areas where I start to catch fish and I know they're there. I'm slowing down with green pumpkin and black worms and catching extra fish, and they are some good fish coming in. The bigger fish are definitely feeding to get fat for the winter. Lot of in the last week I've seen just a ton of hyacinth breaking up, so on the San Joaquin side you're going to have to navigate through a lot of hyacinth, and it's just that time of year where it's breaking away and floating down the river. But you also have to be careful because we can navigate on plane through a lot of that stuff, but it can also cover up a log or something that you don't want to hit. So even if you're on the San Joaquin side, you're flying through that hyacinth, be real careful and just start to slow down this time of year. It's we don't have to get out there. Most people aren't fishing tournaments, and we're out here fun fishing. Oh, by the way, the Apex tournament that was out here, I guess a week or so ago, they had some really low weights come in. But if you're looking at that and thinking, hey man, these guys, we got all the big shots out here and they're not, putting tons of fish in the boat, didn't really mean a whole lot. The fishing before that weekend was really good. The fishing after that was really good. They had a tough situation on that weekend, and the fish just weren't biting. So don't let that detour you from coming out and fishing the river. So my suggestions for being out on the San Joaquin side in the Central Delta, if you do run into chocolate water, move around. You're going to find that 3 to 5 feet visibility and stay in that color water. I am still getting most of my fish in about, I'll say 5 to 10 feet of water. I'm throwing a lot of jerk baits. I am picking up a lot of fish, but believe me, if you stay on a jerk bait, and this morning I was out, and I'll give you a little hint of something that I picked up just this morning, and the bigger fish will come and they will take that jerk bait just as well as they'll take a crankbait, a chatterbait, or a worm. So my suggestion is stay with a chatterbait if you're over about 5 or 6 feet deep of water where you can pull it through the weeds. If you've got, say, 5 feet of clear water, I'm throwing a jerk bait. If I'm finding lanes or anything, I'm throwing a worm, 6-inch black or green pumpkin worm, and that's really all you guys need to do. If you like to punch and you got some spots, go out and punch them. You might get a really big fish, but other than that, everything is on the go, so I want you guys to come out and catch some fish. I will say I have tried topwaters. I'm getting some reports that guys are catching largemouth bass on bone-colored topwaters. I'm not getting bit here, so I'm throwing around when I get the chance, but I'm not having a whole lot of success on topwaters. I'll also say that bigger bone-colored topwaters have been catching a lot of the bigger stripers too. So if you find the stripers boiling, make sure you throw a topwater out there. You might have a whole lot of fun getting a big striper. I think I mentioned the salmon are in. I have seen a lot of pictures from guys that are showing me what they're catching out there, and they don't look like they're in really good shape. So if you want to go out there to have a good time and catch a big salmon up around Freeport or on the Sacramento River, that may be fun, but I haven't found one that I would even smoke. So might be time to start leaving the salmon alone and heading on to sturgeon or striper. All right, anything else that I need to say? No, that's it. You guys got to get out here. The weather is absolutely beautiful. I know the Wild West tournament is coming up in a week or so, but it's off limits right now, so there's not a whole lot of boats out here. It's about 50-50 striper largemouth bass, and it's just, you know, beautiful. In the mornings, you can see, I was out this morning, and you're going to need a coat, and you got to, you know, put something on that'll keep you warm. But by about 11 o'clock, it just turns nice. It's, you know, I wouldn't say it's t-shirt weather, but long sleeve sun shirt, and, you know, you're ready to go. That's it, guys. One last thing, there's fewer and fewer guys out here, so it really helps me for the guys that are out here if you remember to send me reports, because fewer guys on the river, obviously fewer reports. So if you're out, make sure you send it to scooper9561032@gmail.com. I'll put that up, and so you guys will know where to send it. Send me a report, and I appreciate all the guys that have been sending the reports and communicating with me. I really, really appreciate that. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Get out on the river, start catching some fish. Let me know how you do. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.